Welcome to the Hill Law Group Legacy Building Podcast. I am Meredith Hill.
And I'm Ericca Pearson.
And we are two attorneys at the Hill Law Group, which is an estate planning law firm in Bethesda, Maryland. And we serve clients in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And so one of the things that we like to do is educate people, because we know a lot of people don't know a lot about estate planning, and we do it every single day. So today we are talking about when is the best time to put together your estate plan.
I get that question all the time.
All the time. So I'll ask you, Ericca, when is the best time to put together your estate plan?
So I think the best time is now. When you're thinking, somebody says, hey, have you put together your estate plan? If you haven't, I think that you should look into doing it as soon as possible, because putting your estate plan, the best time to do it is when you are healthy, when you are young. Mm-hmm. Lots of times people think estate plans are for old people, rich people. That's not true. When you are young, and you are healthy, that is the best time to put together your estate plan. Lots of times we have lots of young couples when they first have their babies and they're thinking about, we want to be sure that our children are taken care of if something were to happen to them. Well, definitely as soon as little baby is born, or even before babies are born, we do those. You do want to make sure that your children are taken care of. But I would probably say now. So if you don't have your estate plan together, let's do something. Let's do it now. Anyone over the age of 18, really, you may not have amassed your assets. You haven't started to build your empire yet. But it's important for you as an 18-year-old to indicate who you want taking care of your healthcare decisions, because mom and dad don't have to be in the room when you're over 18 to indicate what happens to your healthcare. So if ever anything happens to you that goes beyond a place where you are not able to make your own decisions, you want to choose those people who are making those decisions. And it probably will be your mom and your dad, but it doesn't have to be. And when you become 18, those are some decisions that you get to make on your own. As much as we parents don't like to let go of all of that, but you're adults, and you have to be the ones to make those decisions on who handles your healthcare decisions, who can even take care of your finances, because our phones are so important. If you've got a phone in your own name and you're 18, I can't, as your mom, call and change your plan, turn off your service. And those may be some things that may need to manage if your healthcare deteriorates in any way. There are a number of scenarios that we could concoct where those estate planning documents for 18-year-olds are necessary. So
yeah, because when you're 18, you're grown. You are. I mean, you're not really grown, but in the eyes of the law, you are an adult. And your parents
don't rush it, though.
Yes. Your parents can't step in and act on your behalf and sign things for you if something happens to you. And so it's good that you note that. And with that, you don't have to be super wealthy or wealthy at all, because I would venture out to say that most 18-year-olds are probably very broke.
Unless you've got a YouTube channel.
Unless you have a YouTube channel or
and
you're a Kardashian.
Really need the estate plan.
But I know when I was 18 going off to college, I worked at my church's summer camp in the summer. And I was not making a lot of money. But I was 18. I thought I was very grown. I was not. But I thought I was grown. But yeah, when you go off to college after that, your parents, they can't handle things for you. You're an adult, and you will have a rude awakening about that when you do go off to college, or you go off to whatever experience and you leave the nest and you are in the real world by yourself. And so one part of our clientele that we do deal with are people who are going off to school
Yes.
and putting these basic documents in order for them. And then obviously the bulk of our clients are people who are a little older,
Mhm.
who are either new parents or seasoned parents that need to update their documents. But the one thing that we would want to strongly note is like, A, you don't have to be wealthy. B, please, please, please do not wait until you are in dire circumstances and literally on your deathbed
Mhm.
to try to rush and put these documents in order.
Mhm. I have actually been, in situations where we've put together documents where it is an urgent, that people know that they are passing away. They are healthy enough to sign the documents, but they know that it's going to be fairly quickly that they're passing away, and it's not a pleasant experience. So lots of times we have signings, and you'll hear people are laughing and joking because we've done the hard work, and it's kind of like this sigh of relief that we get to the part where we're signing the documents. But if you are signing people's estate plans on their deathbed, it is not as jovial. It's not as fun. You understand what you're doing, and it can be very heavy, because the individual knows that we're talking about something that's going to happen soon. It is emotional thinking about our own mortality. So when you just think about your own mortality and you're putting the estate plans together, it can be emotional when you're healthy, but when you're not, and you're in a hospital, or we're at home where you're in hospice care and we're putting together estate plans, it is not the most ideal time to do it. So what we would say is, we can't all the time, we can't figure out what the future is going to be. And so what we say is, you got today. That's why I say do it now. But if you find yourself in those scenarios, it always is better to put together those documents and make sure that something is in place, so that when you pass away, things are handled in the way that you want them, and assets are distributed in the way that you want them. But it is not the most ideal time. And you know, like I said, it is very heavy. It is something that I don't, I do because I know it's important, but it can be heavy for me as well. I was just sharing a situation where I had that scenario where there was a family where the person going through it was as pleasant as she could be. She was um, so making jokes and very kind. And I was just thinking, I don't know that I would have acted the same way if I had been in that position, but she was very, very pleasant. And we were able to sign all the documents. And she passed away some 7 to 10 days after we signed those documents. And it affected me because, I was just with her. We were just talking, and this is my client. So I can't imagine what her children were feeling like. But the good news is that we were able to put those documents in place, and things went to her children in the manner that she wanted them to go to. But it's just not the ideal time. And what we want to do is utilize the time, and you've got to do that for really everything that we do. We often say that estate planning is life planning, that you don't want to wait till the last minute to do anything, and just add estate planning to that list of things to do.
Another thing to note is when you wait until you're on your deathbed or you're like very, very ill in the hospital, it's often rushed, and your decision making is rushed, and the people who are drafting the documents are rushing to have you sign them before you pass away. And also, a lot of the decisions that are made out of pure emotion rather
Or
than necessity, rather than taking the time to reflect on who you'd want to receive your assets or be named as beneficiaries in your documents or play crucial roles in your estate plan. And it's just very, very fast. And you may not choose someone that you normally would
Mhm.
like to choose.
Mhm.
So we don't like to have that happen. And so we really tell people to start thinking about it truly when they're 18
Mhm.
and then constantly update the documents,
Mhm.
because we like to plan for both expected events like death and unexpected events, like an extended stay in the hospital or extended stay in a rehab center.
Mhm.
And you just have no idea what's going to happen and what life is going to bring to you. And all of us listening to this, unless you're like a baby, lived through 2020
Mhm.
and no one expected 2020. I didn't know what a pandemic was.
Mhm.
I didn't know
Mhm.
what social distancing was. I didn't know any of that. And all of us on January 1st, 2020 had no idea what was coming our way. Um, but then by December 31st, 2020, we all knew.
Yeah.
We all
And
got,
lots of
yeah.
people's lives
Yeah,
changed
lots of people, yeah.
significantly during that time. So, there are certainly people who called us during that time when family members were on ventilators and were, given amount of time that they were not going to be here. And there's nothing you can do at that time. Even if, so like we had people calling and saying, we talked about it. They want this to happen. They want all of these things to happen, but you can't. Well, first off, they weren't allowing us to go into the hospital to even bring those documents to them. And estate planning is different as it relates to technology. You can't electronically sign your estate plans. You have to actually have a hard copy of those documents. So we couldn't go to the hospital, and lots of times people were not awake, able to sign the documents. So many people passed away without estate plans in place, and they're, families who suffered the loss of your loved one, and then additionally you're having to go through that probate process that we've talked a lot about, because things weren't in place. So it's a very complex scenario.
So another thing that I just thought about that we get a lot of are superstitious people that are afraid to do their estate planning because that means that they're gonna die immediately, or someone's already trying to put them in the grave and take their money, or they might die immediately following our consultation. So I want to address that very briefly because that is, I personally have not had that happen to clients.
Neither have I.
I've never had a client meeting and then they immediately drop dead. I've never had someone sign their estate plan and then they go outside and get hit by a bus. I've never had that happen. What I have had happen is people who have had estate plans that we've created for them. Years later, they do pass away for one reason or another, and their affairs are in order, and their estate is administered properly, and their family is at ease and at peace. And they're not calling to us scrambling, trying to figure out what to do next. Where do I go? What's happening? It's a very smooth process for them. So I would say like that, don't believe the superstition.
Yeah.
You really are, when you're creating an estate plan, giving a gift to your family and your friends and your loved ones. And I just couldn't emphasize that more, that think about the gift that you're giving instead of like, I might get hit by a bus today or a helicopter might
Because that's true
fall
whether
out the
you put the
sky.
estate plan together or not.
Yeah, that
Right?
could happen either way. Exactly.
way.
That could happen either way. And then like in one scenario, your family is
Taken
all
care of.
taken care of. And the other scenario, they're not, and you just get hit by a bus. And then they have to deal with that. Plus your affairs are a hot mess. So we would like, I just highly encourage people to step out of that superstitious box and at least have a conversation with an estate planning attorney and then see what happens.
Yeah,
See what happens.
and we acknowledge that it's difficult to talk about your mortality. It is. But the good news, if you talk to us, is that in total, we're talking about 2 hours out of your life. Our consultations last 90 minutes. And well, 2.5, because you'll spend about an hour with the reviewing of your documents. But once you have really filled out your questionnaire and kind of pushed it over to us, that's the heavy lifting. We're going to take that from you and we'll be able to sort everything out. So we'll be able to put together your documents so that they are in the way that you want them done. So we kind of take the information, make sure that everything is done the way that you want it to. You're just there making the decisions now, so that these are decisions that are going to have to be made, and they're harder to make when you are not there. So spend the 2 hours now, and then get busy not thinking about it. We don't want you to sit around and think about this all of the time. Just want to take a small portion of your life to think about estate planning, do those things that you want to do, make those decisions that are best for you and your family, and then get busy, I say, living in peace as opposed to resting in peace. And knowing that everything is taken care of, and that you really thought about your family. It is really a gift. It's a gift to your family, knowing that you thought about them and these are the things you want to leave to them, and also taking that burden off of making those decisions on your behalf and carrying them out on your behalf.
I agree with all of that, Ericca. I agree. I think there'd be a problem if I did not agree. That would be problematic. Well, if you are interested in talking to someone, an estate planning attorney, contact someone in your area. If you're in Maryland, DC, or Virginia, we love to talk to you. And you can go to our website, www.thehilllawgroup.com, and schedule a time to have a little meet and greet with us. And then we can tell you a little bit more about our firm and what steps to take next. If you're not in the area, we recommend that you find a licensed attorney who practices estate planning exclusively. And they will be able to assist you with planning for putting your estate plan together and not waiting until it's too late or you're rushing. So with that, we thank you for listening and tuning in again, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.